1995. At the same time, the security climate in both Israel and Gaza has deteriorated, with Hamas terrorists threatening the destruction of Israel. Further, the humanitarian situation in Gaza has also worsened. Do you believe that Israel has an absolute right to defend itself from terrorist threats? And if so, how do you balance that with the humanitarian situation that's going on in Gaza? Also, what do you see as your role in strengthening or supporting the U.S.-Israel relationship? And one last part, and I promise I can repeat. What can be done to combat the assault on Israel's legitimacy and the sovereignty by the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement? And with that, we'll start with Mr. Duck, please. In the middle, then we'll go to Senator Mano, Delegate Miller, Dr. Hashimi, and Mr. Trone.
On the first part, well, first of all...
And I'm happy to repeat. I know it was a long question.
Yeah, repeat at least the first part.
Julie, hold up on time for a second. Okay, so the question is, do you believe that Israel has an absolute right to defend itself from terrorist threats? And if so, how do you balance that with the humanitarian situation going on in Gaza? What do you see as your role, as if you were a congressman, in strengthening or supporting the U.S.-Israel relationship, and specifically, what can be done to combat the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement?
Okay.
That's why it's three questions, 3 minutes.
Okay, but it's really only two questions. One is right to defend versus humanitarian, and the other is how do you
Take it how you want.
Yeah. Right. So, I think those two are related. I think that clearly I support the nation of Israel. Israel has a right to exist. It has a right to exist in peace and safety. However, we will only achieve that if we have a two-state solution where the Palestinian people have a nation where they have a right to exist in peace and safety. So we derive that right to defend the borders of Israel by solving the humanitarian problem in Palestine.
Please let each candidate finish before clapping. Thank you.
You cannot achieve peace if we do not have justice. And we should know that that is a fundamental truth. I have studied the art of war for 30 years, and when you study the art of war, you must study the art of peace as part of that. You cannot achieve peace at the point of a gun. I know. They've set me and tried to make me do it. You cannot achieve peace at the point of a gun. What you will need to do is have humanitarian solutions for all of the peoples of the Middle East. And this extends even beyond Israel and Palestine. When you talk about combating the BDS movement, I would much rather have boycott than bombs. I would much rather have calls for divestment than destruction. I would rather have people advocating sanctions rather than advocating suicide attacks. I will support non-violent approaches every time because I have seen what the violence does. I have been called to step in when that violence is occurring. We must support non-violent forms of expression. Yes, on both sides. And we must have fairness and justice. That is why we need a two-state solution. Without a two-state solution, we will never have peace. And the people of Israel are entitled to a nation that is safe and secure and peaceful and free from terrorism. But we cannot achieve that if we are encouraging policies that oppress others. Just as in Iraq, we are never going to achieve peace if we try to impose it upon them.
Thank you. Well, before Senator Mano starts, I know this is a long question.